Hello, I'm Bob Harris of Decorative Concrete Institute. Welcome to Concrete Network's Floor Me series. Let's discuss dealing with baseboards and transitions. If you remove carpet from a room with baseboards, you will also need to remove and replace baseboards to adjust for the height difference. Another option is to place an overlay up to the height of the existing baseboard. So on new construction especially, some builders will prefer to install their baseboard. It's really important that you make them aware, if your intentions are to put a cement overlay over that floor, that they hold the baseboard up, taking into account the depth of the overlay material. You also have to consider transitions from one room to the next. Keep in mind, you're working with a material that can go as little of 1/8 of an inch and up to really 1.5 inches in thickness. So you have to take how you're going to transition from one floor height to the next. I have a perfect example I'd like to show you. Let's go take a look. Here's a perfect example of how you can transition from one floor height to the next. On this side we have our polished concrete. On this border we've put a nice decorative epoxy accent, and then of course we've stepped up 3/4 of an inch to allow for our stampable overlay. Now there are several ways that you can adjust for this transition height. There are prefabricated strips that come in a variety of different colors and shapes. Certainly when you're going as high as 3/4 of an inch, you don't want a square edge, you'd want a rounded edge. In our case, what we did is we cast them out of concrete because we wanted a stained concrete look, so we cast them out of concrete and actually stained them. In this office here, we step back down 3/4 of an inch, and what we'll do is we'll come back and we'll put our stamp overlay, which will marry up flush, so this will be a seamless transition. Another observation is always allow for the door height. So you may need to actually remove the door, and if it's too low, you may need to cut the bottom of the door relative to the height of your floor. Another observation, this is a good example of how you would transition into a different flooring material, whether it was hardwood floor or tile. Great example of transitions. In our back office, we're about ready to install our stampable overlay. And if you remember, we talked about baseboards. So in our case, we left the baseboards off, knowing that we were going to come in after the fact and put our stamp overlay. If for whatever reason the construction schedule had to put the baseboards in, make sure that you keep the baseboards higher. In this case, we already had our thresholds installed, and so now coming back after the fact, we know that we're going to put our stampable overlay, so we use a special tool that cuts this off. You don't want to pour your overlay and lock these transitions in. Remember, do your homework. There are plenty of concrete flooring possibilities to choose from that will meet your individual needs. Be sure to check out all of the Floor Me videos at concretenetwork.com. I'm Bob Harris. Thanks for watching.